Hey guys, this is the third video to milestone my first year into production. The first video was story, though I didn't give any spoilers. It was very peripheral story and a little bit of the main story, but nothing too spoilery. The second video was characters, discussing how I wanted it to, into how the world feels with the characters and how the characters interact with you and everything. This video purpose isn't so much around your purpose in the game, your character. More, it's the purpose of the game, for myself, like the real me in real life. So it's there's multiple elements to it. There's an element of I know for a fact I can figure this stuff out at this point in time. And I know for a fact I can make this game with all the things I want to add in with just time and effort and dedication and persistence to work through things. Like, for example, I made, like you might have done, there's lots of YouTube videos, and I built a bunch of things, default things off those YouTube videos, but with my own assets and my own tweaks in it. So that's why there's elements when you see this game, you might be like, oh, that looks like he's similar to XYZ video. You'll see in some of the videos I reference where I get the information from. I don't, I want to be clear about that. But yeah, the ammo system, I made that myself off my own back. It took me 2 weeks to crack it. And we're not just talking ammo in one gun, we're talking ammo in multiple guns. And then if you fire 3 rounds in your handgun magazine, you switch to your submachine gun, you fire 22 rounds. You go back to your handgun, well, it hasn't magically reloaded and it hasn't magically restocked itself. Like it's not even reloaded, it's just defaulted back to the default maximum ammo in the magazine. No, you need to store it, you need to pass it through, you need to put in like a game instance, you need to feed it through, keep it in a save file, all this complexity, and then adding in ammo types as well. So it's not just a case of this gun has this ammo. No, it's what was the last ammo type of this particular gun. Okay, store this in a separate map variable, like key value pairs. So yeah, I could definitely do it. That's an example of persistence. It's more than anything else, I'd say, and figuring stuff out. But alongside that, there's the aspect of, well, my undergraduate degree was in this sort of stuff. Children shouldn't be allowed to pick their degrees. I was 16, played too many games as a kid, wanted to just make games. And then like the double dip recession in the UK happened and all that nonsense. And essentially I could have, sorry, one sec, had to cough. Essentially I could have got a job in the game industry if I had the persistence I have right now, but I didn't. But that's beside the point. But I want to utilize on some of the skills I learnt then. That was a lot of 3D modeling, 3ds Max, UDK, so like the original, not on Unreal 5.3. I think this is now. Yeah, so old books, getting the books to learn how to do it, not even thinking YouTube, how to do stuff. Yeah, got first in that actually. It was worth 3 modules, so it was 3 modules out of 6. So yeah, half a year of my final year, I got first on that project, like a solid first as well. So I've got the capability to do it, and that was with 2 other people that I guided. Me as like the main person. Now I'm doing it solo. So it's partly skills, partly I know I can do it, but it's all well and good me knowing I can do it. If I don't do it, then what's the point in, like if you can run a marathon, you say to yourself, I can run a marathon, but you never run a marathon. Well, you haven't actually run a marathon, and have you? It's all just in your head. So this isn't so much to prove to other people, but to prove to myself what I already know, which sounds a bit mad, but that's an aspect of it. There's a financial aspect to it because this is going to be good. I'm going to make it good. I'm not going to see it fail. I'm not going to release it half cocked or any of that crap. No, it's going to be immaculate to the best of my capability. And when people find problems, I come with new ideas, fix them, add them in. So it's going to be good. I'll make sure of it. So there's the financial aspect there. Obviously, it's not passive income, is it? Because I'd be like deving it, maintaining it. There is the aspect of not really just passive income for myself, but for my family. So I put in 7 years hard labour, maybe five, maybe six, no more than seven. Make this thing, get it perfect. Passive income. I've not only proved to my children what can be achieved, and kind of proved to myself what I already know in my heart, but I have a legacy, I suppose, as well as like my main career and like being in the NHS before that for nearly a decade. Um, so I have a legacy. They have something to remember me by. My children's children have something to remember me by, and so on and so forth. Um, Long since I'm gone, tech stuff's going to be around forever. Hopefully, it'll get emulated in the future, let's say 30, 35 years later. Uh, I, who knows, I might not be able to do it. 50 years later, I might not be able to do it. Maybe if it's a really good hit, it gets emulated, and it continues. Obviously, income, ticking. Um, I want to do it without a publisher, if at all possible. So that means I'll need to think about marketing and things like that, but that will allow me to yield um, more of that passive income. Like that's not more disposable, I guess you could say, for the taxman to steal and give me a little bit on the side. Not I made it all. So there's that. I really enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy it. When I was younger, I shied away from, like, I was creative, but I shied away from things that meant you had to put a lot of effort in, like um, learning a programming language. Like, I felt I could do it, but I was like, oh, it's gonna be so hard. Oh, I can't be bothered. I'm just gonna play some games. Oh, I'm just gonna do like the bare bones, basic. Wrong mindset, but still had the skill set. But now I've got the skill set and I've got the right mindset. It's a shame it had to be until 34, nearly 35, to acquire this kind of mind kind of change from having children around 26, 27. So yeah, there's there's that side of it. I really just genuinely enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy the creative challenge. I really like working on my own. Uh, Never been one to ask for help. Will ask for help if I need it, but it's like there is a deadline, but it's not like oh my god, how am I going to do this? So I'm never going to be able to do it. Like uh, the alpha of this is going to be in is it UMG? So the blueprints, the building block stuff. The beta, I want to during the beta there'll be a transition from blueprints to pure C++ wherever possible, and then when it's finally out, my ideal scenario is it is pure C++. So not only is it a case of me proving to myself and all those other benefits I've discussed, but also the fact that I will have yielded a fully functional C++ game, and if that doesn't skill you up in C++, like in a situation where not you learn it and then you forget it, you learn it and forget it, but you learn it and you retain it. If that doesn't do it, nothing will. So I want to learn. I want to learn more about C++. I know a bit of it. Again, one of those things. Should have learned it when I was younger. Know a fair bit now, but always more to learn. So yeah, skill development. This it passively benefits my main job as well, not just due to critical thinking and problem solving, but uh, C++, C++ helps you. You know that, and you've got an idea. You've got the tools, and you've got the idea. You can make anything, at least digitally. So there's that element. I am aware that it is quite a task. I could have created something with a like a nice game loop, just roguelike. Maybe it'll only take a couple of years to make it. Um, maybe it'll only take a year to make it. Get it real slick. Uh, maybe you'd be lucky, be popular, earn some money off that. So this isn't a let's make something that's going to earn me loads of money. This is I know it's going to be a big task. I may earn a fair bit of money out of it in the long run, but it is a decent quest to be undertaken. Off the back of this, I have many other ideas for many other games. Um, I want to do more. Perhaps in the future it might get to a situation where this is my full-time job simply because I earn more income off this than I do my main job. Um, and also like a time thing. So if I'm earning more money off this than my main job, but I can only provide it a portion of time because I've also got family life outside of work and all the other life things that come up. It's just like a matter of time management and and again like critical thinking, like which way do I want to go? In terms of what I said this was only going to be purpose about the game, like what the game is to me, not the purpose of the game. But I also want to, I guess, discuss a bit of how it could benefit the community. Because you see lots of games, and usually they have like, oh, they have sight, they have sound, and that's it. But Unreal has capability for things like touch, and I believe it's in like the AI behavior. It's a specific drop down. I can't remember if there's 5 senses or like 4 senses in there. But I want to create blind enemies where they react to touch. I want to have a system of feedback for smell and taste. So obviously you can't smell what the room is like, but if there's I don't know if there's some sort of passive text there, a bit like Baldur's Gate 3 when um, you hover over a substance and it'll say like noxious gas, or it'll say um, something that looks like water, but it's not water, it could be oil, and then you hover over it and it says oil. Maybe that sort of thing, but more to do with like smell and taste, because that's kind of discussing a bit of like it's almost like a sixth sense and just sight. In that Baldur's Gate example, I'm aware of that, but that sort of prompt to highlight what things are. Um, I want to add in elements of psychosis, where you get some games where they go, "Ah, surprise, you're the bad guy," or second playthrough, and you're like, "Oh, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense." But I want to do like practical psychosis as well. I want to incorporate ideas where you like manipulate the hotkeys. So you go to use like, oh, one is handgun, I'll press one, but then the numbers change on the hotkeys like randomly. So like one goes to three, three goes to five, just like a random number generator, things like that, and stuff popping up on screens. Not really jump scares, but kind of popping up on computer screens as you walk by, eerie things. So but a lot of RNG eerie things. So you load it up. You go, oh, did I see something? I'm sure I saw something. You load your save back up because obviously you're spamming the saves, and you do it again, and it doesn't happen. And you load it up 16 more times because you're convinced you're going crazy now, and it doesn't happen. So that sort of really nuanced, practical madness slash psychosis um, might never happen for your playthrough. Might happen a fair bit in your playthrough. It all depends on choices and a bunch of other stuff. So I really want to add in that element of its true uniqueness. It's not like, oh, you get 4 endings, so you play it 4 times to get 4 endings. Or you like good guy, bad guy, or left, right, 0, 1. That sort of choices. No, I want a lot of true replayability. So that's gonna be a task and a half itself. Music, I want to really play a big part. Resident Evil 1, again, just it's the and 2 actually, and 3's even 3, uh, like the OG, like the original game soundtrack and stuff of the Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. The music was like outstanding, and even the sound effects and like the ambient noise. That is going to be a big thing. Like my mindset is what the person playing my game, what senses do they have? So they've got sight. So think of ways to manipulate that. They've got hearing. Usually think of ways to manipulate that. The character in the game has touch, so how to manipulate and take advantage of that. Has taste in the game, how same again. You see, it's very much I want to draw, because games are all about immersion, and a true game truly immerses you, and they're the ones that are really memorable, and it draws you in. I, in the purest sense, I want to draw the maximum amount of the person playing my game into the game. I want like literally every single bit I could of consciousness and maybe even unconsciousness. Uh, I want to draw into the game and then give them an incredible experience. A bit like when you see like if you've seen the Matrix, like the first time you saw the Matrix, first time you saw Event Horizon, first time you saw Gladiator, for example, like those really immersive, mind blowing, like Inception, mind blowing things that really pulled you in. First time you played Halo Combat Evolved or Gran Turismo, that first feeling. I want to get as close to that first feeling for this game. For others, just having a quick look through my notes. I usually do a lot of this stuff on the fly when I'm discussing it because it's all in my head. So yeah, that's why sometimes it might sound like I repeat myself or kind of I double down and go back in and discuss a bit more detail. Elements of New Game Plus as well. So a lot of games have New Game Plus, and some of it seems a bit ridiculous. Like, oh, this heavily this heavy story game with critical choices, and it takes 85 hours to complete. Oh, New Game Plus. Some people like that. I don't really like that too much. But my sort of New Game Plus, I want you to not necessarily be able to play as new characters, but traits, like customizable traits. Look, Baldur's Gate New Game Plus. So I know that's kind of and what hypocritical of what I've just said, but Baldur's Gate, yeah, you might spend another 80 hours playing it, but it's not so much a New Game Plus. But when you play Baldur's Gate 3 a second time, you can have a drastically different scenario, and you can customize the traits and your character, and do things that can interact how it unlocks extra functionality in the game. My New Game Plus kind of wants to yield that. So almost like Baldur's Gate, when you do a new playthrough, is almost my kind of focus with New Game Plus. So you get my customize your traits, get a couple of extra things, RNG in there, and then just little things are different, like a room randomizer. Um, not to the I've discussed it before, not to the extent of like the Resident Evil room randomizers, which get about control, and like the item randomizers, but a fair bit of randomization. Think Resident Evil Director's Cut randomization, but imagine it's truly random rather than just one set of curated different places. Nearly all the items will be random, except from some which might be curated, so it's still in the same room, but it's in a different place. Um, so that is how I want to harness subsequent playthroughs. There, there's bolt-on elements to games like the original Resident Evil 3. Mercenaries of the original Resident Evil 3 was like mind blowing. It was absolutely fantastic, and it was even more fantastic because it was unexpected. So I'd like to not do a Mercenaries sort of thing, but without saying too much, allow you to go into a bit of the, I guess, say like the prologue to the prologue, because obviously the game starts and you're in the ship and that's how it starts, but your character lived a life before that. So I want quirky, cool things like that where you can unlock key bits which build to the story but are only unlockable after the first playthrough. Some games do that. I'm trying to think of, because Mercenaries is kind of non-canon, I guess you could say. So I want to do something like Mercenaries, but imagine it's canon to the actual story and it's a prequel, like a prologue to the story, but just before, about your character's life and maybe some other characters' lives. Like the Resident Evil 2 Survivor stories, but imagine they're canon. That would be another good example. And there's quite a lot of things to discuss, but to avoid rambling, I think I've kind of said everything I need to for the purpose of not only the game, the purpose to me and my family, but the game, purpose of the community. And those are like the main two pillars for this third video. The fourth video is, this is where I can never remember it, passion. Um, so I want to discuss, you as you can imagine, like video 1, story, video 2, characters, video 3, purpose, all have passion woven in. I'm sure I've said that exact same thing in the last video. But the fourth video of this series, fourth and final, will be passion, and it's gonna delve purely into things that have influenced my game design, my thought process. So I'll be just discussing games, films, and yeah, just my creative thought process in specific detail. I know I've kind of discussed, like I've said, name drop games and films here and there, but I haven't given too much of the detail. Just talking about snippets. That fourth video will be like, or as much detail as I can. That feels like necessary. Hopefully, you found this interesting to at least the wider purpose. Just to show, give it a bit of life to the project, give a bit of understanding of what I'm kind of going for. So it's just this random guy just doing random bits in this random game that I don't know, is it a game sort of mindset? No, you a bit of backstory. But yeah, thank you for your time, and yeah, I'll see you in the fourth one.